The rain hammered the alley like bullets on steel. Elena pressed her back against the wet brick wall, her chest heaving, her fingers clutching the envelope that held everything. New passport, cash, a bus ticket leaving in 20 minutes. 3 years of planning. 3 years of suffocating fear and silent prayers. And now, finally, the exit was real. The bus station glowed 2 blocks away through the downpour, a beacon of salvation. She could taste freedom. Her shoes splashed through puddles as she ran. The city blurred around her, neon signs reflecting in oily water, the distant wail of sirens, the smell of garbage and gasoline. She didn't look back. Looking back was how people got caught. Looking back was how people died. The alley opened onto a narrow side street. Empty. Perfect. She was going to make it. Then she heard it. A whimper. Soft. Terrified. Childlike. Elena froze mid-step, rain streaming down her face. Her rational mind screamed at her to keep moving. The bus wouldn't wait. Her window was closing. Every second mattered. But the sound came again. A sob, muffled and desperate, from behind a dumpster 15 feet to her left. Her hand tightened around the envelope. She took 1 step toward the street, toward the light, toward everything she'd fought for. The child whimpered again. Elena closed her eyes. Her jaw clenched. Her entire body trembled, not from cold but from the war raging inside her skull. Keep moving. This isn't your problem. You can't save everyone. But her feet wouldn't obey. She turned toward the dumpster. The child was small, maybe 6 years old, huddled in a space so tight she almost missed him. His dark hair was plastered to his skull, his clothes soaked through. But it was his eyes that stopped her heart, wide, black, filled with a terror no child should ever know. Please, he whispered in accented English. They're coming. Elena's stomach dropped. Who's coming? The boy's lips trembled. He pointed down the alley behind him. That's when she heard the footsteps. Heavy. Deliberate. Multiple sets. Find him, a voice barked in Korean. The boss wants this handled quietly. No witnesses. Elena's blood turned to ice. The child grabbed her wrist with both hands. His grip was surprisingly strong. Please don't leave me. She looked at his face. Then at the envelope in her hand. Then back toward the bus station, so close she could see the departure board through the rain. She could leave. She should leave. But if she did, the child would die. The decision wasn't conscious. It was instinct. Elena shoved the envelope into her jacket and grabbed the boy, pulling him to his feet. Can you run? He nodded, teeth chattering. Then run. They burst from the alley into the side street just as 3 men rounded the corner behind them. Elena didn't look back. She knew what she'd see: professionals, weapons, no hesitation. The boy was fast but his legs were short. She grabbed his hand and pulled him forward, her mind racing through options. The bus station was out. Too open, too many cameras, too many people who'd remember a woman and a terrified child. She needed somewhere hidden. Somewhere unexpected. Left, she hissed, yanking him down another alley. Behind them someone shouted. Footsteps accelerated. Elena's lungs burned. The rain made every surface slick. The boy stumbled, nearly went down, but she caught him and kept moving. Her life of running, of hiding, of always having an exit strategy, it all came flooding back. The fear. The calculations. The cold mathematics of survival. They emerged onto a busier street. Elena scanned frantically: closed shops, a shuttered restaurant, a construction site wrapped in chain-link fence. There. An old apartment building with a broken security door. She dragged the boy inside and up 3 flights of stairs, her heart hammering so hard it hurt. At the top, she found a door with a broken lock. An abandoned unit, half-renovated and forgotten. She shoved it open and pulled the boy inside, then eased the door shut and locked it from the inside. Silence. Only their ragged breathing and the rain against the windows. Elena sank against the wall, her legs shaking. The boy collapsed beside her, his small body trembling violently. For a long moment, neither spoke. Then the boy looked up at her. Why did you help me? Elena didn't have an answer. She stared at her empty hands, at the space where the envelope used to be, at the future she'd just thrown away for a stranger. I don't know, she whispered. The boy's eyes filled with tears. My name is Jehun. Elena. They'll kill you now too. She closed her eyes. I know. Outside in the street below she heard voices. Searching. Coordinating. The men weren't giving up. Elena's mind raced. She just saved a child being hunted by what sounded like organized criminals. She had no weapon, no plan, no backup. Her escape route was gone. Her new life was gone. All she had was a terrified 6-year-old and a locked door that wouldn't hold forever. Jihun's hand found hers in the darkness. "Thank you," he whispered. Elena squeezed his hand. "We're not safe yet." "I know," Jihun said softly. "We won't be safe until my father comes." Something in his tone made Elena turn. "Your father?" Jihun nodded, his expression older than his years. "He's looking for me too. But if these men find me first..." His voice trailed off. "Who are they?" "Bad men. Men who want to hurt my father." Elena's pulse quickened. "And who is your father?" Before Jihun could answer, a sound echoed through the building, footsteps climbing the stairs. They'd been found. Elena's survival instincts kicked in with brutal clarity. She pulled Jihun to his feet and scanned the apartment. One room mostly empty. A window overlooking a fire escape, but it was rusted and loud. They'd hear her trying to open it. A bathroom with no exit. A closet with a broken door. The footsteps grew closer. Second floor. Maybe 3 men moving methodically, checking each unit. "Under there," Elena whispered, pointing to a gap beneath a built-in shelf. "Don't make a sound." "What about you?" "I'll be fine. Go." Jihun hesitated, then crawled into the space. Elena shoved an old tarp over the opening, her hands shaking. The footsteps reached the 3rd floor. Elena grabbed a piece of broken rebar from the construction debris and pressed herself against the wall beside the door. Her heart slammed against her ribs. She'd never hurt anyone before. Never even thrown a punch. But something had changed the moment she heard Jihun's whimper. Some primal switch had flipped. The door handle rattled. Then a voice, cold and professional. "It's locked." "Kick it." Wood splintered. The door crashed inward. 2 men entered, dressed in dark clothes, moving like soldiers. The first one swept the room with a handgun, his eyes cold and efficient. Elena swung the rebar with everything she had. It connected with his wrist. Bone cracked. The gun clattered to the floor. The man roared in pain and spun toward her, his other hand reaching for a knife. But Elena was already moving, driven by pure adrenaline and terror. She swung again, aiming for his head. He blocked with his forearm, then backhanded her across the face. Pain exploded through her skull. She crashed into the wall, tasting blood. The second man was already moving toward the closet, toward where Jihun was hidden. "No!" Elena screamed. She lunged at him, rebar swinging wildly. He caught her wrist mid-swing and twisted. Agony shot up her arm. The weapon fell from her grip. He slammed her against the wall, one hand around her throat. "Where's the boy?" Elena couldn't breathe. Black spots danced across her vision. "Where is he?" The man's grip tightened. Elena drove her knee up into his groin with every ounce of strength she had left. He gasped and loosened his grip just enough. Elena twisted free, grabbed the fallen handgun from the floor and pointed it at him with shaking hands. Both men froze. "Get out," Elena said, her voice raw. The first man, cradling his broken wrist, laughed. "You won't shoot." "Try me." Something in her eyes made them reconsider. The cold determination of someone with nothing left to lose. The second man raised his hand slowly. "You're making a mistake. You don't know who you're protecting." "I know he's a child," Elena said. "That's enough." "His father." "I don't care." The man's expression shifted, confusion, then something like pity. "You will." Footsteps thundered up the stairwell. More men. Many more. Elena's hands tightened on the gun. "Get out. Now." The 2 men backed toward the door, never taking their eyes off her. Then they were gone, melting into the hallway. Elena slammed the door and shoved the broken shelf against it. Her entire body shook. The gun felt impossibly heavy in her hands. "Jihun," she called softly. He crawled out from his hiding place, eyes wide. "You fought them." "I got lucky." Elena set the gun down and touched her split lip, wincing. "We need to move. More are coming. We can't run anymore. We have to. They're already here." Elena turned to the window. Below, in the rain-soaked street, black SUVs were pulling up. Doors opened. Men in dark suits emerged, moving with military precision. 10, 15, 20. This wasn't a hunt anymore. It was a siege. Elena's heart sank. "Who is your father, Jihun?" The boy's expression was impossibly sad. "You'll meet him soon." Outside, someone shouted orders in Korean. The building was being surrounded. Elena grabbed the gun again, checking the magazine. 5 rounds. Against an army. "I'm sorry I involved you," Jihun whispered. Elena knelt beside him, her face level with his. Rain hammered the windows. Footsteps echoed from every direction. The end was coming one way or another. But she didn't regret her choice. "I'm not," she said. Then the windows exploded inward. The flashbangs came first, 3 of them, detonating in blinding white fury. Elena threw herself over Jehun, shielding him with her body as glass rained down. Her ears rang. Her vision widened out. Then came the men. They poured through the window and door simultaneously, moving with choreographed precision. Elena tried to raise the gun, but a hand caught her wrist before she could aim. Another yanked the weapon away. Within seconds she was on her knees, arms wrenched behind her back, a gun barrel pressed to her temple. "Don't hurt her," Jehun screamed. The room fell silent. One of the men spoke rapidly in Korean into a radio. The others held position, weapons trained on Elena, but their eyes kept flicking to the boy. Jehun pushed past them, small and fearless, and stood in front of Elena. "She saved me. She protected me. Don't hurt her." Footsteps echoed in the stairwell. Slow. Measured. Heavy with authority. Every man in the room straightened. The air itself seemed to compress. He entered like winter, cold, inevitable, absolute. The man was tall, dressed in an immaculate black suit despite the rain. His face was sharp angles and controlled power, his eyes dark and utterly unreadable. He couldn't have been older than 35, but he carried himself with the weight of someone who'd seen and done things that aged the soul. When he looked at Jehun, something flickered across his expression. Relief so profound it was almost pain. "Appa," Jehun whispered. The word hit Elena like a physical blow. "Father." The man crossed the room in 3 strides and dropped to one knee, his hands moving over Jehun with clinical efficiency, checking for injuries. His touch was surprisingly gentle. "Are you hurt?" His voice was deep, accented, controlled to the point of brittleness. "No, Appa. She protected me." The man's eyes lifted to Elena for the first time. She'd never felt so thoroughly seen in her life. His gaze was surgical, assessing, measuring, calculating her worth in the span of a heartbeat. She was still on her knees, hands restrained, a gun to her head. Blood dripped from her split lip. Her clothes were soaked and torn. But she met his eyes without flinching. For a long moment neither looked away. Then he stood, his expression returning to stone. "Release her." The hands restraining Elena vanished immediately. She rose slowly, her legs unsteady, every muscle screaming. The man studied her with unsettling intensity. "You fought my enemies, protected my son. Put yourself between him and trained killers." His English was perfect, each word precisely chosen. "Why?" Elena's throat was dry. "He was afraid. That's all. That's enough." Something shifted in his expression, not quite respect but close. He looked at Jehun. "Is this true? She chose to help you." Jehun nodded vigorously. "I was hiding. Men were hunting me. She heard me crying and stopped. She had a bag, Appa, she was going somewhere. But she came back for me." The man's jaw tightened fractionally. He turned back to Elena. "You were running." It wasn't a question. Elena said nothing. "From what? Police? That's an abusive partner?" "It doesn't matter now. It matters to me. You've seen my son's face. You know he was hunted. You've demonstrated combat instincts and quick thinking. You're not a random civilian." He took a step closer. "Who are you running from?" Elena lifted her chin. "If I tell you, will you let me go?" The corner of his mouth twitched, not quite a smile. "No." Her stomach dropped. The man gestured to his men. "Take her to the estate. Medical attention first, then secure quarters. She's under our protection now." "Protection." Elena's voice cracked. "Or imprisonment?" He looked at her with those unreadable eyes. "There's a difference?" "Yes." "Not anymore." He placed a hand on Jehun's shoulder, his touch protective and possessive. "You saved my son's life. That means I own yours now. I don't belong to anyone. You do. You just don't understand it yet." He turned toward the door, Jehun tucked against his side. "Welcome to the family, Elena." The men surrounded her, not grabbing, not forcing, but making it absolutely clear she had no choice. As they descended the stairs, Elena caught a glimpse through a broken window. The street below was filled with vehicles. Armed men stood at every corner. This wasn't a rescue operation. It was a display of power. And she just walked into the center of it by choosing to save one terrified child. The rain continued to fall as they loaded her into an SUV. Jehun sat beside his father in the vehicle ahead, occasionally turning to look back at her through the tinted glass. Elena watched the city blur past, The bus station receding in the distance, growing smaller and smaller until it disappeared entirely. 3 years of planning. Gone. Her carefully constructed escape. Erased. Her future. Rewritten by a single choice. She closed her eyes and saw Jehun's terrified face in the alley, heard his small voice, "Please don't leave me." No. She didn't regret it. Even now, driving toward an unknown fate, into the heart of something dangerous and absolute, she didn't regret it. But she was afraid. The convoy left the city behind, heading toward estates in the hills where ordinary law didn't reach. Where men like Jehun's father made their own rules. Elena pressed her forehead against the cold glass and whispered to her reflection. What have I done? The estate emerged from the darkness like a fortress. High walls topped with surveillance cameras. Guard towers at each corner. A gate that looked capable of withstanding a military assault. As the convoy passed through, Elena counted at least 30 armed men patrolling the grounds. This wasn't a home. It was a stronghold. The main house sat at the center like a sleeping predator. Modern architecture blended with traditional Korean elements, all sharp lines and controlled elegance. Lights glowed behind reinforced windows. Gardens wrapped around the structure, beautiful and precisely maintained. The vehicles stopped beneath a covered entrance. Doors opened. Elena was escorted out, still not grabbed, but surrounded closely enough that running was impossible. Jehun's father emerged from the lead vehicle, his son's hand clasped in his. He spoke briefly in Korean to a woman who'd appeared in the doorway, older, dressed in a pristine black dress, her silver hair pulled back severely. She nodded and hurried inside. Then he turned to Elena. This way. They entered through massive doors into a foyer that belonged in a museum. Marble floors, understated lighting, artwork that was probably priceless. Everything was immaculate. Controlled. A reflection of the man who ruled here. Elena's wet shoes squeaked on the polished stone. She felt utterly out of place, her torn clothes dripping rainwater, blood still drying on her face. Sir, one of the guards began, but Jehun's father raised a hand. Medical attention first. Dr. Yoon should be ready. He led them through corridors that felt more like a luxury hotel than a home, or maybe a very expensive prison. They passed closed doors, glimpsed rooms filled with technology and armed personnel. This wasn't just a residence. It was a command center. Finally, they reached a private medical suite that would have made most hospitals jealous. A middle-aged man in glasses looked up from arranging supplies. Dr. Yoon, the boss said, gesturing to Elena. She sustained injuries protecting Jehun. The doctor's eyebrows rose fractionally, but he simply nodded. Of course. Please sit. Jehun's father spoke to his son in Korean, his tone softer than Elena had heard. Jehun nodded reluctantly and left with one of the guards, glancing back at Elena one more time before disappearing down the corridor. Then she was alone with the boss and the doctor. Dr. Yoon worked in silence, cleaning the cut on her lip, checking her pupils for concussion, examining the bruises blooming across her neck and arms. His touch was professional and gentle. The boss stood by the window, his back to them, speaking quietly in Korean on his phone. Even in silhouette, he radiated authority. You were fortunate, Dr. Yoon murmured. These could have been much worse. Elena said nothing. The bruising will fade in a week or two. Try to rest. He packed up his supplies. I'll leave pain medication with the staff. He bowed slightly to the boss and left. Silence filled the room. The boss ended his call and turned to face her. Up close, under proper lighting, Elena could see the details she'd missed. The scar along his jawline, nearly invisible but there. The exhaustion carefully hidden behind that controlled mask. The slight tremor in his hand before he clasped them behind his back. He'd been terrified for his son. Thank you, he said finally, for bringing Jehun home alive. Elena studied him. You still haven't told me your name. Kang Minho. The name meant nothing to Elena, but the way Dr. Yoon had straightened when saying it, the way the guards snapped to attention in his presence. This was a man who wielded real power. And what exactly are you, Mr. Kang? I'm someone who protects his family. His eyes never left hers. By any means necessary. That's not an answer. It's the only one you need. Elena stood slowly, her body protesting every movement. You said I'm under your protection. What does that actually mean? It means the men who hunted Jehun will come for you next. They saw your face. They know you helped him. If I let you walk out of here, you'll be dead within 48 hours. Ice flooded her veins. And if I stay? You remain alive. Under guard. In comfort. He paused. And you'll help us identify the men who attacked you. I barely saw their faces. We have ways of refining memory. Sketches. Photographs. You'll remember more than you think. Elena's hands curled into fists. So I'm a prisoner. You're protected. Those sound the same. They aren't. He moved closer, his presence overwhelming in the small space. If you were a prisoner, you'd be in the basement cells. Instead, you're in a guest suite with medical care and guards ensuring nobody harms you. There's a difference, Elena. Hearing her name from him felt strangely intimate. For how long? Her voice cracked. How long do I stay here? Until the threat is eliminated. Which could be never. He didn't deny it. Elena's legs suddenly felt weak. She sank back onto the medical chair, reality crashing over her. Her escape was gone. Her future was gone. She was trapped in the gilded fortress of a man who operated outside the law, protected by armed guards and walls, surrounded by danger she didn't understand. And it had all started because she'd chosen to help a crying child. I want to see Jihun, she whispered. Miho's expression softened almost imperceptibly. Why? Because I need to know he's okay. That what I gave up mattered. They stared at each other, two people bound together by a single act of desperate courage, now navigating the consequences neither had chosen. Finally Miho nodded. Tomorrow. He'll want to see you too. He moved toward the door then paused. Elena. What you did tonight, choosing a stranger over your own safety, most people wouldn't. Most people would have kept running. Maybe I'm not most people. No, he agreed quietly. You're not. He left, the door closing softly behind him. Elena sat alone in the sterile medical room, her hands shaking, her mind reeling. A woman in black appeared in the doorway, the same one from the entrance. Miss Elena? I'll show you to your quarters. Elena followed numbly through more corridors, up a grand staircase, into a wing that felt more residential. The woman opened a door to reveal a suite that was bigger than any apartment Elena had ever lived in. King bed, private bathroom, sitting area, even a small balcony overlooking the estate grounds. The door locks from inside, the woman said in careful English. But guards are stationed in the hallway. For your protection. If you need anything, press this button. She indicated a panel by the bed. Someone will come immediately. She bowed slightly and left. Elena stood in the center of the room, her wet clothes leaving puddles on the pristine floor. She walked to the balcony doors but found them locked. Bulletproof glass, she realized. Nothing here was what it seemed. She was protected. And trapped. The same thing. Elena caught sight of herself in a mirror, bedraggled, bruised, blood-stained. A stranger staring back with haunted eyes. This morning she'd been hours from freedom. Tonight, she was at the center of something she didn't understand, bound to a child she'd known for less than an hour and a man who commanded fear with a glance. She sank onto the edge of the bed and finally let herself cry. Not from fear. Not from pain. From the sheer weight of realizing her life would never be her own again. Elena woke to sunlight streaming through gauzy curtains and a moment of complete disorientation. Then memory crashed back. The alley. The child. The siege. Kang Minho's unreadable eyes. She was still wearing yesterday's clothes, stiff with dried rain and blood. Someone had left folded garments on a chair, simple but clearly expensive. Dark pants, a soft sweater, undergarments still in packaging. A shower called to her. The bathroom was pristine marble and chrome. Elena stood under scalding water for what felt like hours, watching the grime and blood swirl down the drain. Her body was a canvas of bruises, purple and yellow along her arms, dark fingerprints on her throat, a spectacular bruise blooming across her ribs. Evidence of violence she'd never experienced before yesterday. When she finally emerged, wrapped in a plush robe, she found food waiting on a tray: rice, grilled fish, soup, tea. Her stomach growled. She couldn't remember her last meal. She ate mechanically, tasting nothing. A knock on the door made her freeze mid-bite. Miss Elena? A male voice, accented but clear. Mr. Kang has requested your presence. Not asked. Requested. The language of someone accustomed to obedience. Give me 5 minutes, Elena called back. She dressed quickly in the provided clothes. They fit perfectly, which was somehow more unsettling than if they'd been wrong. Someone had assessed her size, ordered clothing, delivered it overnight. The level of organization here was frightening. The guard outside her door was young, professional, armed. He led her through daylight-bright corridors where she could better see the estate's layout. More guards at every intersection. Cameras everywhere. Windows that didn't open. Beautiful luxury masking absolute control. They descended to the ground floor and walked through gardens visible through floor-to-ceiling windows. The grounds were stunning. Zen gardens, water features, cherry trees that would be breathtaking in spring. But every view revealed the walls beyond. The guard towers. The armed men patrolling. A beautiful prison was still a prison. The guard stopped outside a heavy wooden door and knocked twice. "Come in," Miho's voice. The room beyond was an office that managed to be both imposing and understated, dark wood, leather furniture, walls lined with books in multiple languages. Massive windows overlooked the gardens. A desk that looked more like a command center. And Jihun sitting in an oversized chair, his legs swinging, a picture book in his lap. His face lit up. "Elena." He jumped down and ran to her, wrapping his arms around her waist. The contact was so sudden, so genuine, that Elena found herself hugging him back automatically. "I was worried about you," Jihun said into her sweater. "I'm okay. Are you?" He nodded against her, then pulled back to look up at her face. His small hand reached up to gently touch near her split lip. "Does it hurt?" "Only a little." "I'm sorry you got hurt because of me." Elena knelt to his level. "Don't be sorry. I made my choice. Appa says you're very brave." Elena glanced at Miho, who stood by the windows, watching them with an expression she couldn't decipher. "Your father is right," Elena said. "But you're brave too. You were smart enough to hide. Smart enough to ask for help." Jihun's eyes were old beyond his years. "I was scared. Being scared and doing it anyway, that's what brave means." He hugged her again, tighter this time. Miho cleared his throat softly. "Jihun, why don't you show Elena your favorite garden? Stay where the guards can see you." Jihun brightened. "Will you come? Please?" Elena looked to Miho, who nodded. "The guards will escort you." 15 minutes. Jihun grabbed her hand and pulled her toward a side door that led outside. 2 guards materialized immediately, following at a discreet distance. The garden Jihun led her to was smaller, more intimate, filled with flowers and a small koi pond. He chattered about the fish, pointed out his favorite flowers, told her about his classes and his love of drawing. He was so normal. So innocent. And yet he'd been hunted like prey less than 24 hours ago. "Jihun," Elena said carefully. "Why were those men after you?" His expression shuddered. "Because of my father." "What did he do?" "He's powerful. And when people are powerful, other people want to hurt them. The best way to hurt Appa is through me." Such a mature understanding from such a small body. "Has this happened before?" "Twice. But Appa always finds me." Jihun looked up at her with complete faith. "He always comes." "Always." Elena's chest tightened. "He must love you very much." "He does. But he doesn't show it like other fathers. He's..." Jihun searched for words. "He carries heavy things. Things I don't understand yet. So he can't smile as much as I wish he would." The insight was heartbreaking. "But when you came back for me," Jihun continued, "when you chose to protect me instead of running, I think you made him feel something. Something he doesn't feel often." "What?" "Hope." Before Elena could respond, Miho appeared in the garden doorway. "Jihun. Time for lessons." The boy sighed dramatically but obeyed, squeezing Elena's hand once more before heading inside with his guards. Leaving Elena alone with Miho. He walked toward her slowly, hands in his pockets, his suit immaculate despite the morning heat. Up close, in daylight, Elena could see the exhaustion etched around his eyes. "He likes you," Miho said. "I like him too. He's a good kid. He's the only good thing in my life." Miho's voice was quiet, almost vulnerable. "Everything I've done, every choice I've made, it's been to protect him." "From what?" "From my world." He looked at her directly. "I need to know something, Elena. That bag you were carrying yesterday, the escape you were planning. What were you running from?" Elena's jaw tightened. "Does it matter?" "Yes." She turned away, staring at the koi swimming in lazy circles. "I was running from someone who thought he owned me. Someone who hurt me. Someone I spent 3 years planning to escape. A husband? A boyfriend? Or that's what he called himself." She touched her throat unconsciously, remembering older bruises. "He found me twice before. Each time I had to start over. New city, new name, new life. This time was supposed to be different. This time I was going somewhere he'd never find me. And instead you found Jihun." Instead I heard him crying. Elena turned back to face Miho. "I don't regret helping him. But I need you to understand, I was so close to being free. You still can be." Hope flared, painful and sudden. "What?" "When this is over, When we've eliminated the threat, I'll give you money. A new identity. Protection while you establish yourself somewhere he can't find you. Better resources than you had before. Miho's expression was unreadable. You saved my son. I pay my debts. Elena's throat tightened. Why would you do that? Because Jihun was right. You gave me hope. Miho moved closer. Most people in my world act from calculation or fear. They help because they want something or because they're afraid of consequences. But you help because you could not help. That kind of person is rare. Precious. I'm not special. You are. And when this is finished, you'll have the chance at the freedom you earned. Tears prickled Elena's eyes. She blinked them back. And until then? Until then you're under my protection. You'll help us identify yesterday's attackers. You'll stay safe within these walls. And he hesitated, something shifting in his expression. You'll spend time with Jihun. If you're willing. Why? Because in one night you became important to him. He has nightmares. He has trust issues. He's been betrayed by people who were supposed to protect him. But he trusts you. Miho's voice dropped. I won't force you. But if you're willing, your presence here would help him. Elena thought about the terrified child in the alley. About his small hand gripping hers. About his faith that she wouldn't abandon him. I'm willing, she said. Miho's shoulders relaxed fractionally. Thank you. But Miho, when you say this will be over, when will that be? His jaw tightened. Soon. My men are tracking the group that took him. When we find them. He didn't finish, but the implication was clear. Violence. Retribution. The kind of justice that happened in shadows. Elena shivered despite the warm sun. I should warn you, Miho continued. Life here isn't simple. People will be watching you. Judging whether you're a threat. Some of my organization won't trust an outsider, no matter how you came to be here. Am I in danger? From my enemies, yes. From my people, no. I've made it clear you're under my personal protection. No one will touch you. The weight of that promise settled over her like a cloak, protective and suffocating at once. Elena, Miho said, and the use of her name still felt intimate. I need you to understand something. The world I live in, it's not kind. It's not fair. Men who show weakness die. Men who trust the wrong people die. I've survived by being harder, colder, more ruthless than anyone else. You're trying to scare me. I'm trying to be honest. Because Jihun has pulled you into this world, and you deserve to know what that means. They stood in the garden, morning light filtering through cherry trees not yet in bloom, two strangers bound by a child's life and a woman's impossible choice. Why do you do it? Elena asked quietly. Why live like this? Because I was born into it. And because leaving would mean abandoning everything I've built to protect Jihun. His eyes held hers. We don't always get to choose our cages, Elena. Sometimes we just learn to survive inside them. She understood that better than he knew. A guard approached, speaking rapidly in Korean. Miho's expression hardened. What is it? Elena asked. My brother is here. He'll want to meet you. Something in his tone made Elena's stomach drop. Is that bad? I don't know yet. Miho gestured toward the house. Come. And Elena, be careful what you say around him. Kang Taehyun is complicated. They walked back together, guards surrounding them, toward whatever complication awaited inside. And Elena couldn't shake the feeling that the real danger was just beginning. Kang Taehyun was everything his brother wasn't. Where Miho was controlled and cold, Taehyun was warm and charming. Where Miho dressed in understated elegance, Taehyun wore designer labels with casual confidence. Where Miho moved with predatory stillness, Taehyun entered rooms like he owned them. He was waiting in the main sitting room, sprawled on a leather sofa, drink in hand, expensive watch catching the light. When Elena entered behind Miho, Taehyun's eyes lit with interest. So this is the famous rescuer, he said in perfect English, standing smoothly. I've been hearing quite the story. He crossed to Elena and extended his hand. His smile was dazzling, practiced. Elena shook it warily. His grip was firm but not aggressive. Kang Taehyun, he introduced himself. The disappointment of the family. He's my younger brother, Miho said flatly, and head of our southern operations. Which is a very polite way of saying I handle the business Miho finds distasteful. Taehyun's smile never wavered. But where are my manners? Please sit. You must be exhausted after your ordeal. Elena sat, acutely aware of the tension between the brothers. They stood on opposite sides of the room, Miho by the windows, backlit and unreadable, Taehyun in the center, commanding attention. I understand you saved my nephew's life, Taehyun continued, settling back into his seat. That's remarkable. Most people would have run. I couldn't leave him. Why not? The same question everyone asked. Elena was getting tired of not having a good answer. Because he was scared. And I know what that feels like. Taehyun's smile softened, became almost genuine. A woman with a conscience. How unusual in our world. She's not part of our world, Minho said sharply. Isn't she? She's living in your fortress, under your protection, emotionally bonded to your son. Sounds rather integrated to me. Temporarily. Of course. Taehyun sipped his drink, eyes never leaving Elena. Tell me, Miss Elena, what do you think of our little operation here? I think it's very secure. He laughed. Diplomatic. I like you already. His expression turned more serious. But truly you must be curious. What kind of man commands this level of loyalty? This level of fear? Taehyun, Minho's voice was a warning. I'm just making conversation, brother. Taehyun leaned forward. You see, Elena, may I call you Elena? Minho likes to think he's protecting you. And perhaps he is. But he's also using you. That's enough. Is it? Because I think Elena deserves to know the truth about why she's really here. Elena's pulse quickened. What truth? Taehyun. Minho moved from the windows, his presence suddenly threatening. We discussed this. And I disagreed. Taehyun stood to face his brother. She risked her life for Jihun. She deserves honesty, not pretty lies about temporary protection. The brothers stared at each other, some silent battle of wills playing out. Finally Minho spoke. Leave us. With pleasure. Taehyun turned to Elena, his smile returning. It was lovely to meet you, Elena. I'm sure we'll talk again very soon. He paused at the door. And for what it's worth, thank you for bringing my nephew home. Whatever else happens, that matters. Then he was gone, leaving Elena alone with Minho. The silence stretched. What did he mean? Elena demanded. About you using me? Minho's jaw worked. He's trying to cause trouble. It's what he does. That's not an answer. It's the only one I'm giving you right now. Elena stood, anger flaring. You said you'd be honest with me. I'm being honest. Within limits. That's called lying by omission. In my world it's called survival. Minho crossed to the drink cart and poured himself something amber. He downed it in one swallow. You want truth, Elena? Here's truth. The men who took Jihun were professionals. They knew our security protocols. They knew when he'd be vulnerable. Someone on the inside helped them. Ice flooded Elena's veins. A traitor. Yes. And I don't know who. He turned to face her, and for the first time she saw genuine fear behind his controlled mask. Which means I can't trust anyone. Not fully. Not even my own brother. You think Taehyun? I don't know what to think. He has ambition. He's questioned my leadership before. But orchestrate the kidnapping of his own nephew? Minho shook his head. I want to believe he wouldn't. But in this business, belief is a luxury I can't afford. Elena's mind raced. So what does that have to do with me? Minho's eyes met hers. You're an outsider. You have no stake in our power struggles. No history with our organization. No reason to betray Jihun. So I'm what? A neutral party? You're someone my son trusts completely. Someone who's proven their loyalty through action, not words. He set down his glass. Taehyun was right about one thing. You're not just here temporarily. I need you here, Elena. Until I root out the traitor, until I know Jihun is truly safe, I need someone I can trust absolutely to be near him. The weight of it crashed over her. You want me to protect him. I want you to be someone he can turn to. Someone who has no agenda except his well-being. Minho's voice dropped. I'm asking you to stay. Not as a prisoner. As something else. Someone important. Elena's hands trembled. And my freedom? Will still come. But not yet. Not until this is finished. You're moving the goalposts. You said when the threat was eliminated. The threat is the traitor. And I swear to you, Elena, when I find them, when Jihun is safe, you'll have everything I promised. New identity, money, protection. Your freedom. And what if it takes months? Years? It won't. I'm close. My people are investigating everyone who had access to yesterday's security protocols. We'll find them. Elena turned away, struggling to breathe. I was supposed to be gone. Starting over somewhere new. Instead I'm alive, Minho said quietly. If you'd made that bus yesterday, if you'd ignored Jihun's cry for help, you'd be free. But the men who took him would have killed him to send a message. And then they would have hunted you anyway because you'd seen their faces. You don't know that. Yes, I do. Because I know how this world works. You saved Jihun and yourself. Now I'm asking you to stay and help me protect him from the next threat. And the one after that. Until I can make this world safe enough that he doesn't need to live in a fortress. That's a beautiful dream, Elena said bitterly. Is it achievable? I don't know. But I have to try. She looked at him, really looked. Beneath the cold control, beneath the ruthless authority, she saw a father terrified of failing his child. A man trying to build something good in a world designed for violence. What if I say no? She asked. Then I'll keep you here anyway. For your own safety. His honesty was brutal. But you won't be able to see Jihun. And he'll think you abandoned him. That's cruel. That's pragmatic. Minho moved closer. I'm not a good man, Elena. I've done things that would horrify you. I've hurt people. Killed people. Built an empire on violence and fear. But Jihun, he's innocent. He's good. He's everything I'm not. And I will do anything to keep him that way. Including emotional blackmail. Including whatever is necessary. They stared at each other. Two people trapped by circumstance, neither fully willing, neither fully able to walk away. Finally, Elena spoke. If I stay, if I need promises from you. Name them. No more lies. If I'm risking my life, I deserve to know what's really happening. Agreed. Within security constraints. I'm not just decoration. If I'm protecting Jihun, I need to know how. Self-defense training, security protocols, whatever it takes. Miho's eyebrows rose. You want weapons training? I want to never feel helpless again. Something flickered in his expression. Respect, maybe? Done. Anything else? When this is over, when you found your traitor, you let me go. No delays. No excuses. You keep your promise. You have my word. The word of a man who admits he's not good. The word of a father who keeps his promises to his son. And now to you. Elena searched his face for deception and found only exhausted sincerity. All right, she said finally. I'll stay. I'll help protect Jihun. But Minho, if you betray me, if you break your promise, I will find a way out of here. And you'll never see me again. Fair enough. He extended his hand. She took it. His grip was firm, warm, anchoring. Welcome to the family, Elena, he said again. For real this time. As she left the sitting room, escorted back to her quarters by silent guards, Elena couldn't shake the feeling that she'd just made a deal with the devil. But the devil had kind eyes when he looked at his son. And maybe, just maybe, that was enough. 3 weeks passed in strange, suspended reality. Elena's days fell into rhythm. Mornings with Jihun, afternoons in training, evenings navigating the complex social dynamics of Miho's household. The training was brutal. A stone-faced woman named Sergeant Han put Elena through exercises designed to build strength, speed, and awareness. Hand-to-hand combat. Weapons handling. Situational awareness. How to spot threats, how to create distance, how to disable an attacker long enough to run. You're not becoming a soldier, Han explained in clipped English. You're learning to survive. Different goals. Elena's body ached constantly, but something fierce was awakening inside her. Each time she landed a proper hit, each time she successfully disarmed Han during drills, she felt power returning, agency she'd lost years ago. Jihun noticed. You're stronger, he said one afternoon while they drew together in the garden. You stand differently now. Elena smiled. Your father, Sergeant, is a good teacher. She's scary. She's capable. There's a difference. Jihun considered this solemnly. At 6 years old, he understood nuance most adults missed. Do you like it here? With us? It was the question Elena had been avoiding. It's complicated, she said honestly. I like being with you. But I miss my freedom. Appa says freedom is an illusion anyway. Your father says a lot of things. But he's usually right. Jihun added flowers to his drawing, bright colors against dark paper. He likes you. He doesn't like many people. Elena's heart skipped. What makes you think that? He smiles sometimes when he talks about you. Small smiles but real ones. And he checks on you when you're training. I've seen him watching from the windows. Elena had noticed the watching but assumed it was security protocol, not something else. Your father is complicated too, she said carefully. Everyone here is complicated. Except you. Jihun looked up at her with absolute trust. You're just good. If only it were that simple. That evening, Elena was summoned to Miho's office. She found him behind his desk, surrounded by photographs and documents. His tie was loosened, his sleeves rolled up, his hair disheveled, the most undone she'd seen him. "Elena, come in. Close the door." She obeyed, sensing tension. Minho gestured to the papers. "We've narrowed the suspect list. 7 people had access to yesterday's security protocols. I've investigated 6 personally. They're clean. And the 7th? His jaw tightened. "Taehyun." Elena's stomach dropped. "Your brother. My brother. My second in command. My only living family besides Jehun." Minho's voice was hollow. "The investigation keeps circling back to him. Communications with unknown parties. Unexplained absences. Financial irregularities. Maybe there's another explanation. Maybe." He looked up at her. "Or maybe I've been blind because I didn't want to see." "What will you do?" "Confront him. Tomorrow." Minho stood, moving to the window that overlooked the grounds. "If it's true, if he betrayed Jehun." He didn't finish. Didn't need to. Elena moved to stand beside him. Outside, guards patrolled in the darkness. The fortress that was supposed to keep threats out might have been harboring one inside all along. "I'm sorry," she said quietly. "Don't be. This is the world I built. I should have expected it." He glanced at her. "How's training?" "Brutal. Effective. Han says you're a natural. That you have good instincts." "I'm motivated." "By freedom? By not wanting to feel helpless again." Minho studied her profile. "You're different than when you arrived. Harder." "Is that bad?" "No. It's survival." He turned to face her fully. "Elena, if something happens tomorrow, if the confrontation with Taehyun goes badly, I need you to promise me something." Her pulse quickened. "What?" "If there's an attack, if the estate is breached, you take Jehun and run. There's a safe room in the East Wing reinforced with supplies. Han knows the protocols. You get him there and you don't leave until either I come for you or—" He swallowed. "Or until someone you trust comes." "You're scaring me." "Good. You should be scared. Because if Taehyun is the traitor, he's not working alone. He has support. Resources. And tomorrow when I confront him, things could escalate quickly." Elena's hands clenched. "Then don't confront him alone. Bring backup." "I am. But Taehyun knows all my people, all my protocols. If he's prepared for this." Minho's voice dropped. "Just promise me. Jehun comes first. Always." "I promise." "Thank you." His hand found hers, squeezed once. The contact was brief but electric. "You've become important to us, Elena. More than I expected." "Us? Or Jehun?" His eyes held hers. "Both." Before Elena could respond, his phone buzzed. Minho checked it and his expression darkened. "What?" "Taehyun. He wants to meet tonight instead. Says it's urgent." Minho's jaw set. "This is it. Don't go. If it's a trap." "If it's a trap, I need to spring it on my terms, not his." He was already moving, grabbing his jacket, checking the weapon at his hip. "Stay with Jehun tonight. Tell him I'll see him in the morning." "Minho." He paused at the door, looking back at her with something raw in his expression. "If I don't come back, Han will give you everything I promised. The new identity, the money, the protection. You'll have your freedom, Elena. Finally." "I don't want it that way." "I know. But take it anyway. And tell Jehun." His voice cracked almost imperceptibly. "Tell him his father loved him more than anything in this world. That everything was for him." Then he was gone. Elena stood alone in his office, heart pounding, fear crawling up her spine. Something was very wrong. She ran to find Jehun. He was in his room, already in pajamas, reading before bed. His guard stood outside, alert but relaxed. "Elena." Jehun brightened. "Will you read with me?" "Of course." She sat beside him, trying to keep her voice steady. "Your father had to go out. He said he'll see you in the morning." "Okay." Jehun leaned against her, trusting and warm. "Will you stay until I fall asleep?" "I'll stay as long as you need." They read together, a story about a brave tiger and a clever rabbit. Jehun's breathing gradually slowed, his weight settling against her shoulder. Elena stroked his hair gently, this innocent child at the center of so much violence, and made a silent vow. Whatever happened tonight, whatever trap was springing, she would keep him safe. Even if it cost her the freedom she dreamed of. Even if it cost her everything. Outside, night deepened. And somewhere in the city, Minho was walking into the dark. Hours passed like years. Elena stayed in Jehun's room long after he fell asleep, watching his peaceful face, listening to his quiet breathing. The guard outside remained vigilant. Everything seemed normal. But Elena's instincts, newly awakened by Han's brutal training, screamed that something was wrong. At 2 a.m. the first explosion rocked the estate. Jihun jolted awake, terrified. Elena was already moving, grabbing him, pulling him from the bed. "What's happening?" His voice shook. "I don't know. But we need to move. Now." The guard burst through the door, weapon drawn. "Safe room. East wing. Go." Alarms blared. More explosions closer now. The compound's defenses were being breached. Elena ran, Jihun clutched against her chest, the guard behind them laying covering fire as other guards appeared from everywhere. The estate had transformed into a war zone, smoke, shouting, gunfire echoing through elegant corridors. They reached the east wing. The safe room door was steel, nearly invisible in the wall. The guard punched in a code and it hissed open. "Inside. Lock it behind me." Elena started to obey, then stopped. "Where are you going?" "To buy you time." "Go." He shoved them inside and slammed the door. Darkness. Then emergency lights flickered on. The safe room was small but equipped. Reinforced walls, communication equipment, supplies, weapons locked in a cabinet. Jihun clung to Elena, shaking violently. "It's okay," she whispered, though her own heart was trying to escape her chest. "We're safe here. Your father planned for this." "Where is Appa?" "I don't know." Tears streamed down Jihun's face. "He's not coming back, is he?" "Don't say that. He's strong. He'll." An explosion, massive and close, shook the room. Dust rained from the ceiling. Elena grabbed the communication panel, desperately trying to raise someone, anyone. Static. Then a voice, broken by interference. "Breached perimeter, multiple hostiles requesting backup." Another explosion cut off the transmission. Jihun sobbed into Elena's shoulder. She held him tight, her mind racing. The safe room would hold for a while, but not forever. Miho had said to wait for him or someone trustworthy. But what if no one came? An hour passed. Then 2. The sounds outside gradually changed. Less explosions, more gunfire. Closer. Systematic. They were clearing the building. Elena made a decision. She crossed to the weapons cabinet and used the emergency key to open it. Inside, handguns, ammunition, even a rifle. She'd never fired a gun before training with Han. Now she loaded one with shaking hands, remembering everything she'd been taught. "Jihun, I need you to hide behind those supply crates. Don't come out until I tell you." "Elena, no. Now. Please." He obeyed, terrified but trusting. Elena positioned herself facing the door, weapon raised, every muscle coiled. "If they come through that door, I'm ready. I'm not helpless anymore." Time stretched. Silence pressed in. Then footsteps outside. Multiple people. A voice muffled through steel. "Open it. She's in there with the boy." Taehyun's voice. Elena's blood froze. "No explosives," Taehyun continued. "We need them alive. He needs leverage." Not Taehyun himself. Someone else. Mechanical sounds, cutting equipment. They were going through the door. Elena's hands tightened on the weapon. She'd killed no one. Was she capable? Could she pull the trigger when it mattered? The door began to glow red where they were cutting. From his hiding place, Jihun whispered, "Elena, I'm scared." "I know. Me too. But I won't let them hurt you. I promise." The cutting continued. And Elena made her peace with what she'd become. A woman who'd chosen one child over her escape, and would now choose his life over any remaining innocence she possessed. The door breached with a shriek of tortured metal. Elena steadied her aim. And waited for the devil to walk through. The door didn't just open. It exploded inward, torn from its hinges by shaped charges. Elena squeezed the trigger. The recoil jolted through her arms. The first attacker dropped, screaming, clutching his shoulder. She fired again. Missed. Her third shot caught another man in the leg. But there were too many. They poured through like a flood, 4, 5, 6 armed men. Elena kept firing until the gun clicked empty, then grabbed another from the cabinet. Her hands were steady now, her fear transformed into cold focus. Protect Jihun. Nothing else matters. She dropped 2 more before someone tackled her from the side. She hit the ground hard, losing her weapon. Training kicked in, Han's voice in her head, sharp and commanding. Elena twisted, drove her elbow into her attacker's throat. He gagged. She rolled away, grabbing a fallen knife, slashing wildly. Blood sprayed. Someone screamed. Then arms like steel bands wrapped around her, pinning her. She fought, but her attacker was massive, immovable. Enough. Taehyun's voice cut through the chaos. Stop hurting my men. I'm impressed truly. But this is over. Elena was yanked to her feet, still struggling. Taehyun entered the destroyed safe room, immaculate as ever despite the violence, flanked by more armed men. His eyes found Jihun immediately. The boy was still hidden behind crates, but visible now that the room was compromised. "Hello, nephew," Taehyun said softly. "You can come out. No one's going to hurt you." Jihun didn't move. "Elena," Taehyun continued, turning his charm toward her. "You've proven remarkably resourceful. 3 of my men are down because of you. That's unexpected. Where's Minho?" Elena spat blood from her split lip, new injuries layered over old. "My brother is currently indisposed. Don't worry, he's alive. I need him that way. For now." Taehyun moved closer, studying her like a curious specimen. "You know, when I first heard about you, the woman who sacrificed her escape to save Jihun, I thought it was too good to be true. Noble heroes don't exist in our world. I'm not a hero. No, you're something rare. A person who actually cares. That's valuable." He gestured to his men. "Bring them both. And someone check on those wounded. I'm not a monster." Elena was dragged forward. She saw Jihun being pulled from his hiding place, saw his terrified eyes, and felt something inside her break and reform into pure, crystallized rage. "You're his uncle," she said, voice shaking. "His family. How could you?" Save the moral outrage. Taehyun's charm evaporated, replaced by cold calculation. "I love Jihun. I do. But my brother's been making mistakes, growing soft. This organization needs stronger leadership. Someone willing to make the hard choices Minho won't." "So you orchestrate your nephew's kidnapping?" "I orchestrated a demonstration of my brother's weakness. If those idiots had actually succeeded in taking Jihun, I would have rescued him myself. Become the hero. Forced Minho to step down." Taehyun shrugged. "But you complicated things by playing savior. Then Minho brought you here, started trusting you, started changing his protocols. You became problematic. So this is about power. This is about survival. My brother's sentimentality is going to get us all killed. Better I take control now, restructure, eliminate threats before they eliminate us." Elena was dragged into the main corridor. The estate was wrecked, walls pockmarked with bullets, bodies of guards she'd come to know lying still. Her stomach churned. "Where are you taking us?" "To see my brother, of course. He needs to understand the new reality." They descended to the lower levels, parts of the estate Elena had never seen. The architecture changed, became more utilitarian. Cells. Holding areas. The darker heart of Minho's empire. Taehyun stopped outside a reinforced door. "Bring them both in. But carefully, Minho's injured, but he's still dangerous." The door opened. The room beyond was bare concrete and fluorescent lights. And Minho, slumped in a chair, hands bound, blood staining his shirt from a wound in his side. But his eyes were open, alert, burning with controlled fury. Those eyes found Jihun first. Relief and anguish warred across his face. Then they found Elena, and something cracked in his expression. "You're alive?" he breathed. "Of course she's alive," Taehyun said cheerfully. "I told you, brother, I'm not a monster. I don't kill unnecessarily. You attacked my home. Killed my men. Put my son in danger. I demonstrated your vulnerabilities. There's a difference." Taehyun gestured for Elena and Jihun to be brought closer. "But look, they're both fine. Traumatized certainly. But alive. Because I'm reasonable." Jihun lunged toward his father, but the guard held him back. "Appa." "I'm okay, Jihun. I'm okay." Elena catalogued Minho's injuries with growing horror. The gunshot wound, yes. But also bruising on his face, evidence of interrogation. He'd been tortured. "What do you want, Taehyun?" Minho's voice was steady despite his pain. "You've made your point. You have us. Now what?" "Now you sign over control of the organization. Formally. Publicly. You step down, citing health concerns. I become leader, you retire to comfortable obscurity with your son. Everyone lives. And if I refuse?" Taehyun's expression hardened. "Then I demonstrate what happens to those who oppose me. Starting with people you care about." He pulled out a handgun and aimed it casually at Elena's head. Jihun screamed. Minho lurched forward, but his restraints held. "Don't." Minho's composure finally shattered. "Please. She's innocent in this." "No one's innocent. She chose to involve herself. She chose to matter to you." Taehyun's finger rested on the trigger. "So choose, brother. Your pride or her life. 5 seconds. Wait." 5. Elena's mind raced. Her hands were bound behind her. No weapons. No escape. But if she was dying anyway? 4. She met Miho's eyes. Saw desperation there. Saw a man breaking. 3. I'll sign. Miho's voice cracked. I'll sign whatever you want. Just don't hurt them. Please. Taehyun smiled and lowered the weapon. See? That wasn't so hard. Family should work together, Miho. You'll understand eventually. He turned away to give orders to his men. And in that moment of distraction, Jihun moved. The boy was 6 years old. Small. Overlooked. Which was his advantage. He'd been in these rooms before, Elena realized. Knew the layout. And he'd been watching his uncle carefully, calculating with intelligence far beyond his years. Jihun grabbed a fallen piece of rebar, debris from the earlier explosions, and swung it with all his small strength into the guard's knee. The man howled and loosened his grip. Jihun twisted free and ran not toward his father but toward a panel on the wall. Emergency controls. He slammed his small hand against the red button. Alarms shrieked. Steel doors began closing throughout the complex, security protocols designed to contain riots or escapes. The door behind Taehyun started descending. Chaos erupted. Taehyun's men scrambled. One lunged for Jihun. Elena threw herself sideways, slamming into the guard despite her bound hands, knocking him off course. Get them? Taehyun roared. But the doors were closing fast. Miho, despite his injuries, launched himself forward. His chair splintered. He tackled the nearest guard, his bound hand somehow finding the man's weapon. A gunshot. Then another. Elena felt hands grab her, drag her backward as doors sealed. She saw Jihun being pulled through a closing entrance. Saw Miho fighting with desperate strength. Saw Taehyun's face, shock and rage warring for dominance. Then steel crashed down, separating them. Elena was in a corridor with 2 of Taehyun's men. She kicked backward, connected with someone's groin. He dropped. She rolled, found her feet, ran despite her bound hands. Behind her, footsteps gave chase. The estate was a maze of closing doors and blaring alarms. Elena had no plan, only instinct. She ran through corridors she'd walked 100 times during training, muscle memory guiding her toward the training room, where Sergeant Han stored weapons. Elena crashed through the door. The room was empty, but the weapon cabinet was unlocked. Han must have armed herself before the attack. Elena turned, pressed her back against the cabinet's edge, and used the metal corner to saw through the zip ties binding her wrists. Her shoulders screamed. The plastic cut into her skin. But fear was a powerful anesthetic. The tie snapped. Her hands were free. She grabbed a weapon from the cabinet just as the door burst open. 2 men entered. Elena fired without hesitation. One dropped. The other dove for cover. Elena was already moving, using the room's training equipment as obstacles, staying mobile like Han had taught her. The second man fired. The shot missed by inches. Elena returned fire. Hit his shoulder. He went down screaming. She didn't stop to check on him. She ran back into the corridor, following the sound of distant gunfire. Miho and Jihun were somewhere in this chaos. She had to find them. The estate was a war zone. Bodies lay in corridors, both Taehyun's men and Miho's guards. The coup had fractured the organization, forced everyone to choose sides. Elena rounded a corner and nearly ran straight into Sergeant Han. The older woman's weapon came up, then lowered. Elena, you're alive. Han, where's Miho? Where's Jihun? Boss fought his way to the main security room. He's got the boy. But they're surrounded. Taehyun's people control most of the upper levels. Can we reach them? Maybe. But Elena, you should run. Get out while you can. This isn't your fight. Elena met her eyes. Yes, it is. Han's stern expression softened fractionally. Then follow me. And stay close. They moved through the estate like ghosts. 2 women against an army, but trained, determined, and fighting for something worth dying for. They reached the security room. The door was barricaded from inside, bodies of Taehyun's men lay outside, Miho's work. Han knocked in a specific pattern. Boss. It's Han. I have Elena. Mechanical sounds. The door cracked open. Miho's face appeared, haggard and bloody but conscious. His eyes found Elena and something in them, relief, gratitude, something deeper, hit her like a physical force. You're alive, he said again. So are you. Barely. He let them inside and sealed the door again. Wait. Have maybe 10 minutes before they breach this room. Maybe less. The security room was small, filled with monitors showing the estate from dozens of angles. Jihoon huddled in a corner, his small face pale but determined. "Appa's been trying to call help," he said to Elena. But Uncle Taehyun blocked communications. Not all of them. Miho was working frantically at a console. "I have one encrypted line left. One call before they cut it." "Who are you calling?" Elena asked. "A rival. Someone who owes me a favor and would love to see Taehyun dead." His jaw set. "It's risky. But if he brings his people, we might survive this." "And if he doesn't?" Miho looked at her. "Then I die knowing I tried everything to save my son." "And you?" Elena crossed to Jihoon and knelt beside him. "How are you holding up, brave one?" "I'm scared. But Appa says fear is okay as long as we keep fighting." "Your father's right." A massive explosion rocked the room. Monitors flickered. The door shuddered. "They're using heavier ordnance," Han reported. "That door won't hold much longer." Miho finished his call and turned to face them. His shirt was dark with blood. His wound was getting worse. But his eyes were clear, determined. "Elena. Sergeant Han. Thank you. For everything. But if it comes down to it..." He looked at Jihoon. "Take my son. Get him out. There's an emergency tunnel in the sub-basement, leads to the outer grounds. The code is Jihoon's birthday. Run and don't look back." "No," Jihoon said firmly. "No. We stay together." "Jihoon. We stay together." The steel door buckled. Voices shouted outside. Miho grabbed a weapon. Han positioned herself by the door. Elena pulled Jihoon behind her, her own weapon raised. This was it. The final stand. "I'm sorry," Miho said to no one in particular. "I'm sorry I brought you all into this." "Don't apologize for my choices," Elena said. "I knew what I was doing." His eyes met hers across the small room. In them she saw respect, gratitude, and something that looked dangerously like love. The door exploded inward. They fired together, Miho, Han, Elena, a desperate last defense. Men fell. But more came. They were being overwhelmed. Then, distant but growing closer, new sounds, different gunfire, shouting in different voices. Hope flared in Miho's eyes. He came. My rival actually came. Will that help or make it worse? Elena demanded. Both probably. But it buys us time. They fought. Seconds stretched into minutes. Bodies piled. Ammunition ran low. Elena's world narrowed to three things. Protect Jihoon, stay alive, don't let go. Then suddenly, silence. The assault stopped. Taehyun's voice echoed from somewhere in the complex. "Miho. This is pointless. Too many people are dying. Let's talk." Miho's jaw clenched. "It's a trap." "Of course it is," Han said. "But we're trapped anyway. Then we bring Jihoon to the tunnel. Now." They moved as a unit. Miho despite his injuries, Han taking point, Elena protecting Jihoon in the middle. Through corridors filled with smoke and death. Past rooms they'd once lived in peacefully. Down to depths Elena had never seen. The tunnel entrance was exactly where Miho said, a concealed door in the sub-basement. He punched in the code with shaking hands. The door hissed open, revealing a dark passage. "Go," Miho said. "All of you. I'll hold them off." "No. Go." Elena grabbed Jihoon and pulled him into the tunnel. Han followed reluctantly. Miho started to seal the door behind them. Taehyun appeared at the end of the corridor, alone, hands raised peacefully. "Brother. Please. Can we stop this? Can we just talk?" Miho's weapon aimed at Taehyun's chest. "You tried to take everything from me. I tried to save us. And I'm still trying." Taehyun took a step closer. "Your rival is upstairs slaughtering my people and yours. This estate will be rubble by morning. But we can still save the family. You, me, Jihoon. Just, let me explain. Please." Miho's hand trembled. "You betrayed me. I tried to save you from yourself. There's a difference." For a long, agonizing moment, the brothers stared at each other, years of history, blood shared and blood spilled, all condensed into one impossible choice. Then Miho lowered his weapon fractionally. "Talk. Fast." "Thank you." Taehyun moved too quickly. A hidden knife flashed from his sleeve. "No." Elena screamed. But she was too far, the tunnel too dark, everything happening too fast. Miho blocked. The blade meant for his heart caught his shoulder instead. He gasped, stumbling. Taehyun pressed his advantage, driving his brother backward toward the open tunnel. Elena didn't think. She raised her weapon and fired. The shot caught Taehyun in the side. He jerked, shocked, looking down at the spreading blood. "You You actually... He collapsed. Minho sagged against the tunnel entrance, bleeding from multiple wounds now. Elena and Han rushed to support him. We need to move, Han said urgently. More will come. They dragged Minho into the tunnel. Elena looked back once at Taehyun lying in the corridor, his eyes staring at nothing. She'd killed him. Ended a life with her own hands. She felt nothing. Just cold determination. They sealed the tunnel door and ran. The tunnel seemed endless, cramped, dark, sloping gradually upward. Jihun's small hand gripped Elena's tightly. Minho leaned heavily on Han, leaving a trail of blood on the concrete. Behind them, distant explosions continued. The estate was being torn apart. Finally, fresh air. A concealed exit in the trees beyond the compound walls. They emerged into pre-dawn darkness. The estate burned behind them, flames reaching into the night sky. Gunfire still echoed, but fainter now. Minho collapsed the moment they were clear. Han immediately pressed her hands against his wounds, trying to stop the bleeding. Stay with us, boss. Trying. His eyes found Jihun. You okay? The boy nodded, tears streaming. Don't die, Appa. Please don't die. Not planning to. Sirens wailed in the distance. Police, fire department. The violence had drawn too much attention to ignore. We need to get him to a hospital, Elena said. Can't. Minho's voice was weak. Too many questions. Have to go underground. He'll die if we don't get him help. I know, people. Doctors who don't ask. Minho grabbed Han's arm. The emergency contact. Dr. Yoon. Call him. Han pulled out a phone and made the call, speaking rapidly in Korean. Elena knelt beside Minho, taking his hand. Stay awake. Just a little longer. His eyes focused on her with difficulty. You saved us. Saved Jihun. Saved me. We saved each other. You killed Taehyun. Yes. How do you feel? Elena considered. Like I did what was necessary. Like I'd do it again. A ghost of a smile touched his lips. You've changed. So have you. I'm dying. You're not. I won't let you. Jihun pressed against his father's other side, his small hands gripping Minho's sleeve. Appa, you promised. You said you'd always come back. You promised. I'm right here. Not going anywhere. You're bleeding. Just a little. That's a lot. Minho's laugh turned into a cough. More blood. Elena's stomach clenched. Headlights cut through the darkness. A vehicle approached, careful, lights off until the last moment. Han raised her weapon, then lowered it. Dr. Yoon. The older doctor emerged with a medical bag, his face grim. He assessed Minho's condition in seconds. We need to move him. I have a safe location 20 minutes from here. He looked at Elena and Jihun. You'll both need to come. There will be questions, investigations. The police will be looking for survivors. Are we under arrest? Elena asked. You're under protection. What? Mr. Kang has given me resources for exactly these situations. Dr. Yoon gestured to his vehicle. But we need to move now. His condition is critical. They loaded Minho into the back of a medical van, modified for exactly this purpose. Dr. Yoon started in 4, began treating wounds even as they drove. Jihun refused to leave his father's side. Elena held the boy close, her other hand gripping Minho's, feeling his pulse, weak but steady. Stay awake, she kept repeating. Stay with us. Trying. Hard to, when everything hurts. Good. Pain means you're alive. Philosophical. I learned from the best. His eyes opened, found hers. Even bloodshot and glazed with pain, they held warmth. Elena. My promise. Your freedom. I'm still going to keep it. I don't care about that right now. I do. You saved my son. Twice. You deserve. Minho, shut up and stay alive. We'll talk about freedom later. Bossy. You like it? I really do. Jihun giggled weakly. Elena makes Appa smile. Your father doesn't smile enough. Neither do you, Minho murmured. We're well matched. Dr. Yoon interrupted. Save your strength. We're almost there. They pulled into an industrial area, warehouses and abandoned buildings. Dr. Yoon drove into one, the door closing automatically behind them. Inside was a fully equipped medical facility hidden in plain sight. Help me get him on the table, Dr. Yoon commanded. The next hours blurred together. Surgery. Transfusions. Elena and Jihun waited in an adjacent room, both unable to sleep, both too wired and terrified to do anything but watch the clock. Han appeared with food, clean clothes, updates. The estate is destroyed. Most of Taehyun's people are dead or captured. The boss's rival honored his word, helped eliminate the threat, then withdrew. But the police are investigating. This will be complicated. Taehyun's body? Elena asked quietly. Not found yet. The fire destroyed much of the evidence. Elena nodded, feeling nothing. She'd killed a man. Maybe she should feel guilty. Maybe later. Right now she just felt exhausted. Ji-hoon had fallen asleep against her, his small body finally surrendering to exhaustion. You were brave today, Han said. Braver than most soldiers I've known. I was terrified. That's what makes it brave. You could have run. You chose to fight. I chose Ji-hoon. You chose them both. Han's expression softened. The boss cares about you. I've seen it. The way he looks at you talks about you. In all the years I've known him, I've never seen him care about anyone except Ji-hoon. Until you. We barely know each other. Sometimes that's all it takes. One choice that changes everything. Elena looked at Ji-hoon sleeping peacefully despite everything. Despite the violence and terror and loss. Will he be okay? She asked. After all this? Children are resilient. Especially ones who've been loved well. Han stood. Get some rest. I'll wake you if there's news. But Elena couldn't rest. She sat with Ji-hoon watching over him, replaying the night's events. The gunfire. The blood. Taehyun's shocked expression as her bullet found its mark. She'd crossed a line. Become someone she didn't recognize. But she'd also become someone strong. Someone who protected instead of running. Someone who mattered. Dr. Yoon emerged hours later, exhausted but cautiously optimistic. He'll live. The next 48 hours are critical, but he's stable. Strong. He fought hard. Can we see him? Briefly. He's sedated, but you can sit with him. Elena carried the still sleeping Ji-hoon into the recovery room. Minho lay in a hospital bed, tubes and monitors surrounding him, his face pale but peaceful. She set Ji-hoon in a chair beside the bed, and the boy immediately reached for his father's hand. Even in sleep, Ji-hoon held on tight. Elena stood at the foot of the bed watching them. Father and son. Family. And somehow, impossibly, she'd become part of it. Minho's eyes fluttered open. He saw Ji-hoon first, relief flooding his expression. Then his gaze found Elena. You're still here. Where else would I be? Running. Finally free. The estate's destroyed. The organization's fractured. No one would stop you now. Elena moved closer. Is that what you want? I want you to have the choice. The freedom I promised. She looked at Ji-hoon, sleeping with his hand clasped around his father's. Then back at Minho. I made my choice 3 weeks ago in an alley, Elena said quietly. I chose him over my escape. And I'd make the same choice again. And again. For as long as he needs me. And me. Minho's voice was barely a whisper. What about me? Elena's heart hammered. I think. She swallowed. I think I chose you too. Without meaning to. Somewhere between training sessions and dinner conversations and watching you with your son. I chose to stay. Elena. I'm not asking for anything. I don't expect anything. But I can't leave. Not anymore. Not when. When what? When leaving would break my heart. Silence stretched between them, heavy with implication, with possibility, with fear. Then Minho's hand reached out. Elena took it. His grip was weak but warm. Then stay, he said. Not as protection. Not as obligation. Stay because you want to. Stay and help me rebuild. Stay and be part of this broken family. Are you asking me to? I'm asking you to choose us. For real this time. No escape plans. No freedom clauses. Just us. Tears blurred Elena's vision. That's not freedom. No. His smile was soft, genuine. It's something better. It's home. Elena looked at Ji-hoon again. At this boy who'd stolen her heart with a whimper in an alley. At this man who'd given her strength by demanding nothing. At this broken, dangerous, impossible family. She thought about the woman she'd been 3 weeks ago, running, always running, never belonging anywhere. And the woman she'd become, strong, capable, no longer alone. Okay, she whispered. I'll stay. No regrets. Only that I didn't meet you sooner. Minho's eyes closed, exhausted but content. Thank you. For everything. For him. For me. For choosing us when you could have chosen yourself. Elena squeezed his hand. Get some rest. We have a lot to rebuild. We do. Together. Together. She sat in the chair beside Ji-hoon, both of them keeping vigil over Minho as he slept. Outside, Dawn was breaking over a changed world. The estate was gone. Taehyun was dead. The organization would need restructuring. Everything had fallen apart. And somehow that meant they could rebuild it right this time. 6 months later. The new house wasn't a fortress. It was a home. Still secure. Minho would never be careless about safety again. But the walls were lower. The guards more discreet. There were gardens where Jaehoon could play, rooms filled with light, spaces designed for living rather than surviving. Elena stood in the kitchen, preparing breakfast, and marveled at how normal her life had become. How the woman who'd been running for years had finally stopped. Had finally found a place worth staying for. Coffee smells good, Minho said, entering in casual clothes, still elegant but softer somehow. The surgery scars had healed well. The emotional ones were taking longer but healing nonetheless. You're up early. Couldn't sleep. Too much on my mind. The merger with Park's organization? Among other things. He moved behind her, his hands settling on her waist, a casual intimacy that still made her heart skip. I was thinking about alleyways. And choices. And how one moment can change everything. Elena turned in his arms. Having regrets? The opposite. His kiss was soft, lingering. I'm having gratitude. Footsteps thundered down the hallway. Jaehoon burst into the kitchen, nearly 7 now, growing taller every day. Elena. Appa. Look what I drew. He thrust a picture at them, a family portrait. 3 figures holding hands. Elena's throat tightened. It's beautiful. That's you, Jaehoon pointed to the female figure. And that's Appa. And that's me. We're a family now, right? Right? Minho confirmed, ruffling his son's hair. So when are you getting married? Elena choked on her coffee. Minho's eyes went wide. Jaehoon? What? You love each other. You kiss sometimes when you think I'm not watching. That's what people who get married do. Jaehoon looked between them with perfect 6-year-old logic. So when? Elena and Minho exchanged glances, part embarrassment, part amusement. Well, Minho said carefully, that's something Elena and I would need to discuss. So discuss it. Jaehoon? I'll wait. Take your time. The boy poured himself juice with exaggerated patience. Elena laughed despite herself. You're very subtle. I learned from the best. After breakfast, after Jaehoon had run off to play in the garden with his security detail trailing at a discreet distance, Elena and Minho found themselves alone on the terrace. He has a point, Minho said quietly. About marriage? About us. About making this official. Elena's heart raced. Minho. I know we've only known each other 6 months. I know it's fast. But Elena, I've lived a lifetime in these months. You've transformed my world. You've given Jaehoon stability, love, hope. You've given me. He trailed off, struggling with words. You've given me permission to be more than what I was. To build something better. We built it together. Yes. And I want to keep building. With you. Officially. Permanently. He took her hands. I'm not asking because I think you owe me. I'm asking because I love you. Because somewhere between the violence and fear and impossible choices, I fell in love with your courage. Your strength. Your heart. Tears streamed down Elena's face. I love you too. So much it terrifies me. Then marry me. Not because you have to. Not because you're trapped. But because you choose to. Because you want this future we're building. Elena thought about the envelope she'd clutched 6 months ago. The escape plan. The freedom she'd sacrificed. She didn't regret it. Not for a second. Yes, she said. I'll marry you. Minho's smile, rare, genuine, beautiful, transformed his face. He pulled her close and kissed her properly, deeply, the way he'd wanted to for months. When they broke apart, both breathless, Elena laughed. What? Minho asked. I was running from one man who said he owned me. And I ended up choosing a man who gave me the freedom to stay. That's the difference. What is? Love is the choice to stay, not the inability to leave. Minho cupped her face. You could walk away tomorrow, Elena. I'd let you go. I give you everything I promised and more. But you stay because you want to. That's what makes this real. I'm never leaving. Good. Because Jaehoon would be devastated. And I'd be lost. They stood together, watching Jaehoon play in the garden, the morning sun warm on their faces. Behind them was violence, loss, impossible choices. Ahead was uncertainty. Minho's world would always carry danger. But they'd face it together. Elena, Minho said softly. Yes. Thank you. For stopping that night. For hearing him cry. For choosing us over your escape. Thank you for giving me a reason to stay. Jehun called from the garden, waving at them to come play. They walked down together, hand in hand, toward the child who'd changed everything. And Elena realized something profound. She thought she was running toward freedom. But real freedom wasn't the absence of ties. It was choosing which ties to keep. She chose this child laughing in the sunlight. She chose this man who'd learned to love again. She chose this broken, beautiful family they were building from ashes. She chose to stop running. And finally she was free. 3 weeks ago, Elena had an envelope full of escape plans and 20 minutes until freedom. 3 weeks ago, she heard a child crying in an alley and made an impossible choice. She thought she'd chosen a child over her escape. What she really chose was her destiny. And sometimes the life you save becomes the life that saves you in return.